Week.
Championship Saturday takes us to a place where the collars are as blue as the turf. The tough town of Boise, Idaho, and they're ready for the Fresno State Bulldogs to enter, seeking a Mountain West Conference championship. Welcome to the 2017 Mountain West Football Championship game presented on ESPN by Hampton by Hilton. These two teams played a week ago, and here they are from Fresno to Boise. Fresno State is a top 25 team in the college football playoff rankings for the first time, squaring off with Boise State. Last Saturday, the Bulldogs with a 28-17 home victory. What an oddity. Just the second time in FBS history that two teams have played back-to-back games in the same season, and it's a tough place to play. The best home record since the turn of the century in college football belongs to the Boise State Broncos. Hope you're enjoying your championship Saturday. Adam Amin, Dusty Dvorak, Molly McGrath will join us in a moment as well. And as we open up our championship dossier, we start with one of the great stories in college football. What a job Jeff Tedford has done with an incredible turnaround at Fresno State.
It's been unbelievable, and it's the second time for Jeff Tedford. Go back to his first year at Cal. He rebuilt that program in year number one. He's done the same thing here, and he's done it by building this team's confidence from a one-loss season a year ago, earning this team's trust, and week by week, they've gotten better and better and now in position to win a conference championship.
Much like Fresno State, Boise State started tough, really strong finish.
Yeah, and early on in the season, we had them twice. They couldn't find any identity on offense. They weren't physical in the run game. Quarterback wasn't quite there. They were 2-2 early on. Then they won 7 straight football games and really ran through the Mountain West Conference. A hiccup a week ago, but they're playing their best football at the right time of the season.
We're going to see 3 quarterbacks of import between these two teams. We start with the transfer from Oregon State.
This guy got here the second week of August, so they took him along slow. Smart by these coaches. He didn't start until the 4th game of the season, and they put more and more on his plate throughout the season to where he's playing his best football of the year right now, coming off a great game against Boise. And Boise, they don't have one, but 2 different quarterbacks on their offense.
Yeah, that's right, Dusty. We'll be seeing both Brett Rippon and Montel Cozart in this game. And Coach Brian Harsin said this isn't normally a 2-quarterback system, but both players have so much athleticism, we needed to find a way to make it work. And Rippon admitted to me that he struggled with his confidence early in the season, not throwing his first touchdown pass until 5 games in, but he said there was a turning point for him where he stopped worrying so much about individual statistics and his job security and just had fun with it. And this team behind both quarterbacks, Cedric Wilson told me, Brett is our guy, but Montel is not a backup quarterback. They're a 1-2 punch. We see them as 1A and 1B.
It's been a great run for these two teams all the way to the Mountain West Conference Championship game being played on the blue turf in Boise, Idaho. One of the unique oddities in college football. Certainly not the only one.
The 2017 Mountain West Football Championship game, brought to you by USAA. Insurance, banking, and investments tailored for the military community. And Pizza Hut, the best pizza delivery deal. Order today with a large 2-topping pizza for just $7.99, because no one out-pizzas the Hut.
It's V-Week on ESPN as we continue Jim Valvano's fight against cancer.
The hammer has become a symbol for Boise State football. They bring them out as they take the field before big home games, and now they get set to put all those hammers away, and the proverbial hammer trying to be put to Fresno State. 39 degrees, dropping temperatures as the night goes on. This game being played in Boise to the consternation of some folks out west in Fresno. We'll dive into that story as the night goes on. Boise State won the toss and deferred. And the 5th Mountain West Championship game is underway, with a procedure penalty, which will give Fresno State the football in good field position.
Kick out of bounds, kicking team. First down, 35-yard line.
So Fresno State played 3 games, then had a bye, And that's when Marcus McMaryion was ready to take over as the starter after he arrived on August the 11th for his first practice.
I got to give these coaches a ton of credit, because the natural thing is just to rush your quarterback in. You get a new grad transfer, he's the best quarterback, let's just throw him in there and see what he can do. They took it slow. He didn't play until the 4th game of the season following a bye, and it's been a constant evolution all throughout this season, getting better and better each week, the playbook growing and growing each week. Played his best game of the season last week. Throws a great deep ball down the field, very mobile. Boise struggled keeping him inside the pocket on a couple of 3rd downs just a week ago, but Marcus McMaryion playing the best football of his career right now for Fresno State.
Marcus McMaryion on the keep. There's that mobility on display for 13 yards. He's got a great target out on the perimeter. Keyshawn Johnson is a championship factor for the Bulldogs.
6'2", 202 pounds, goes up and gets the football. Monster week against Boise just a week ago.
We'll tell you all about the 12% rule implemented by Kalen DeBoer, the offensive coordinator. It is a good one. And it's how Fresno State has gone 9-3 this year. Catch made by Keyshawn Johnson, right on cue for 8.
That's a great instance of the chemistry that's been built between Marcus McMaryion, especially Keyshawn Johnson outside. That's a timing route on an out route. Ball out of Marcus McMarion's hand before Keyshawn Johnson even gets out of his break. They've continually gotten better and better each and every week.
New school record for consecutive games of the reception, busting Henry Ellard's old mark. This is Jordan Mims. The true freshman spins for the first down.
Jordan Mims will make you miss. Nawahine, the safety, comes down, has a chance to tackle him in the open field. But just that slight cut, that shiftiness by Mims allows him to pick up enough for the first down.
Now it's Josh Hokett. Good job by Natani Muti, the left guard, pulling out to help for a 5-yard run.
Expect to see 3 different running backs here today. We've seen Jordan Mims, Josh Hokett. He's more of the bigger physical power runner, and Ronnie Rivers, the explosive true freshman. All 3 of these guys will get plenty of run for Fresno.
Hokett in the Wildcat has the first down.
Look at the power football. Let's go Wildcat with our biggest running back, and let's just run the power. Follow behind 52. Muti gets up to the 2nd level, gets a nice block. Fresno State trying to flex its muscle and out physical Boise in this opening drive.
Back to Mims. Concerted effort to run the football for Fresno State. Kalen DeBoer, the offensive coordinator, told us that Boise did as good of a job as anybody against Fresno's rush attack last week.
That's a testament to their front 7. They've got outstanding defensive linemen that really hold their gap. They're physical, they can shed blocks, and they allow 38, the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year, Leighton Vander Esch, Tyson Maeva, those linebackers, they run wild for this Boise defense.
Blitz from Boise. McMaryion looking for Johnson. Incomplete.
McMaryion had Johnson. Keyshawn Johnson just never located the football. Good route by Johnson. Sits down like a little stop route and he takes it up the field. Unable to locate the football for Marcus McMaryion. It's 3rd and long, not a good situation for Fresno. This is an area they've really struggled so far in the season. I expect max protection from Fresno to give Marcus McMaryion plenty of time to deliver the football.
Well, he empties it out on 3rd down and 8. Boise showing pressure. They will bring just 4. And McMaryion will get shoved out by the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year, Leighton Vander Esch. 4th down.
It's good coverage down the field. Nowhere for Marcus McMaryion to go with the football. Sneaks out the back door. Leighton Vander Esch. He's in the passing lane. Gets to his mark. And then as he sees Marcus McMaryion is going to try to pick up the yards to gain on the ground, closes to the football and escorts the quarterback out of bounds.
Jimmy Camacho, cancer survivor, excellent kicker, second team Mountain West selection. A little bit of a hook, and it's off the uprights. Just his 5th miss, Dustin.
Ball was hooking. It looked like it was going to find a way to make it in. But doink.
Jeff Tedford's team unable to come away with points to start the night, and I think he knew that it was a little wide right when he made contact with it based on that reaction.
Disheartening start for Fresno. They moved the ball so well down the field. Credit Boise for getting the stop and forcing the missed field goal.
Brett Rippon starts this drive from the 24 and finds his top target, Cedric Wilson. That's a great connection that Brett Rippon loves to use.
Brett Rippon is really hitting his stride throughout this season. His accuracy's gotten so much better, very accurate with the football. You know, less thinking, more production. A lot of quick game, balls coming out fast. They like to get him into a rhythm, and a true professional. This guy's handled Montel Cozart coming in and everything that's been thrown at him this year to perfection.
Back to Wilson. Ducked under George Helmuth and picked up a couple. The number 9 is very important when Boise State is on offense. Got a 1,000-yard rusher for the 9th consecutive season. He's in the backfield. It's Alexander Madison. And he'll work all the way near the sticks, near the 46-yard line. Boise State and Auburn have the longest streak in the country for a 1,000-yard rusher.
And this is who they are. And early on in the season, they weren't able to run the football effectively. This offensive line, they found some continuity. They're playing much better with much more physicality, and it's allowed Alexander Madison to really emerge. And Jake Rowe, such a key piece of this offense. 9 receiving touchdowns, 11 total touchdowns. He didn't play a week ago, and it's very questionable how much we will see him today.
Little end around for the first down. Picked up by Robert Mahone into Fresno State territory, Molly.
Yeah, Coach Harsin told us yesterday that Jake Rowe would be out of this game. He said it would take a miracle for him to play, and this morning Rowe showed up to Harsin's office and basically begged him to play. He insisted he was fine. Harsin said he'll do anything to play in this game because it means a lot to him. He doesn't want to miss it, so he's suited up. He is available, but as you saw, he did not start. We'll keep an eye on him.
Such a huge factor for this Boise State offense. Throwing the football, blocking, some of the gadget things they do.
Rippon for Wilson. Was it picked off? It is an interception for Mike Bell. This is certainly going to be reviewed, as every play in college football is. But Mike Bell, as it stands, has the pick.
Well, Tank Kelly makes the play. Outstanding coverage. Gets the arm in there, creates the pass breakup.
Timeout.
Not sure if this is going to stand. Ball looks like it might have hit the blue turf.
The previous play is under further review. The ruling on the field was an interception.
I think this could be overturned, Adam.
Yeah, right there it hits the ground. And he didn't really have the possession when it hit the ground.
He didn't have his arms underneath the football. Ball sneaks between his arms. Looks like it hits the turf.
We're going to take a second look at this. A crucial first quarter takeaway for the Bulldogs. Will it stand is the question.
After further review, the ball hit the ground, therefore it is an incomplete pass. It will be second down and 10 at the 40-yard line.
Elvis is very adamant that that was an incomplete pass.
Like that hair Elvis has tonight.
Mike Bell's interception is overturned. So Boise and Brett Rippon go back to work at the 40. Madison picks up 5. Alexander Madison learned a lot from Jeremy McNichols, one of those 1,000-yard rushers in line for Boise State. Congratulations, by the way. McNichols got promoted to the active roster of the San Francisco 49ers. So one of Madison's mentors getting his shot in the NFL this weekend. Blitz from the Bulldogs, and down goes Rippon. It is the walk-on George Helmuth, aptly nicknamed the Hammer.
Well, the Hammer brought it on this one. Going to be a blitz. They never pick him up. He comes clean right here. A breakdown in protection. He's unaccounted for. And man, does he make it count with a big hit on Brett Rippon. Fresno State mixing in some pressure on third down. Try to confuse Brett Rippon. Work to perfection.
Rivers with a fair catch. George Helmuth is the son and grandson of grape and almond farmers. When he finishes up football, he's going to get his degree in ag business and join the farm. The Hammer with a sack. Welcome back to the 2017 Mountain West Football Championship game, presented on ESPN by Hampton by Hilton. Great crowd, at least in terms of exuberance so far. Fresno State about to get the ball back. We told you what their metric is. They have something called the 12% rule. If drops, penalties, turnovers, and sacks account for less than 12% of their offensive snaps, the offensive coordinator, Kalen DeBoer, said his teams win 90% of the time. Their percentage last week was 7.5% against Boise.
And every game that they've won this year, they've hit their 12%. First thing they look at when they go over game prep, a huge piece of what makes Fresno such a successful team this year.
Incomplete from McMarion. I believe Johnson might have been the closest man in a route.
I think there was some miscommunication there. Keyshawn Johnson didn't seemed confused on where that pass went. Marcus McMarion kind of the same. I was talking earlier about how great their chemistry's been. They were on different pages on first down.
No relation to the great wide receiver Keyshawn Johnson. Spells his name a little bit differently as well. Incredible receiver for this offense. Ronnie Rivers brought down by Jabril Frazier. Third down and 10 coming up. Incredible action already today. You have to tune in tomorrow, noon Eastern on ESPN. Watch it on the ESPN app. If you're not by a TV, you will find out exclusively the 4 teams that are in the college football playoff. Reese and the guys will unveil the playoff bracket as well as the rest of the bowl tie-ins coming up tomorrow. This is what it is all led up to. Championship Saturday into Selection Sunday.
2 are in, right?
I think so.
Georgia, Oklahoma. I think they've already punched their ticket.
Absolutely agree. And Georgia wasn't messing around today against Auburn.
What a statement. Kirby Smart in year number 2. Talk about turnarounds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great job he's done. Lincoln Riley in his first year.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense, number 77, 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
Aaron Mitchell, the veteran center, with the false start. This is the turnaround for Jeff Tedford. Right now, the best in college football from last year to this year.
Been incredible, the turnaround that they've had in such a short amount of time. This is a danger zone right now for Fresno. You got to be smart, run the football, screen passes. Back from your own end zone, 3rd and long.
McMarion finds Johnson right at the sticks. I thought he had stepped out short of the line to gain. It depends on where the ball is, and the head linesman Greg Downham says just short.
Well, it is very close. You'd like to see Keyshawn Johnson take that route just a little bit further, closer to the first down, and he's short. I'd like to see a little bit more effort out of him as he turns and tries to get upfield. Caught the ball about 3 yards short of the first line of the first down marker. It's not great effort after the catch to move the chains.
This is a reviewable play. You can review a spot as it relates to the line to gain, so I'd be curious if they do review this. Now the play clock is winding down, and we have a delay of game penalty.
Delay game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
So now Blake Cusick is in even tougher waters. Even closer to the end zone. Dangerous return man, Avery Williams, one of the best in the country. Flag is down. So is Williams.
The 2017 Mountain West Football Championship game is presented by Hampton by Hilton. Book a room today and follow your team all the way. And in part by BMW. We only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine.
Lyle Smith, whose statue sits outside of Albertson Stadium, the father of Boise State football. They didn't go Division 1A until 1996 in the Big West, but a program that began all the way back in 1933 as a junior college turned into a now group of 5, if you want to use that term, powerhouse, a program that other group of 5 schools still look at as the model of consistency.
Yeah, we had Central Florida last week. We talked with Scott Frost, and he told us Boise State is the standard for the group of 5 schools. So quite the reputation around all of college football for the Boise State Broncos.
We'll start this drive from the 25 with a Madison run. Think about the consistency of this program, gunning for another 10-win season. Since they went to Division I and FBS in '96, only Ohio State and Oklahoma have more 10-win seasons than Boise State. Great job by Chris Peterson, and then Brian Harsin stepping in, continuing the success. Montel Cozart is in at quarterback for Boise State, and he flips it to C.T. Thomas. And he's got the first down.
Well, C.T. Thomas, he's got some speed. Shifty, quick, love to get him on the perimeter. Quality blocking on the edge. And Mike Bell, good tackling safety for Fresno State, whiffs in the open field. A nice pickup on the edge.
Going back to that side, and Wilson, the penalty marker thrown on the near side of the field.
That's completion to Wilson for the loss of a yard.
Prior to the ball being snapped, encroachment on the offense, number 74. He landed up on the defensive side of the ball. It's a dead ball foul. 5-yard penalty. Replay, first down.
Archie Lewis, part of a very solid offensive line that has found its stride in the last 8 games.
Yeah, they were mixing and matching early on the season. We had them twice early on, and they couldn't figure things out up front. And they've really found themselves. Archie Lewis, Mason Hampton, the center, really the key cogs of this Bronco offensive line. You see the motion, the shift of the tight ends, big part of what Boise does with their window dressing.
Brett Rippon back in at QB. And he's got Wilson. Dragged out by Bryant after 7 yards.
Yeah, Adam, we talked to Brian Harsin about how to approach these back-to-back games, and he's telling his players, don't view this like like 2 contests. This is 1 contest. This is 8 quarters of football. The week of preparation was an extended halftime. You just need to go out there for those 4 quarters and finish it, and they really responded to that during the week.
Extended halftime. Wildcat for Madison. Not much there. What do you think about that? I thought that was an interesting way to approach this very rare back-to-back matchup.
Maybe that way they keep in the back of their minds that they're down. So they got to fight. They got to dig down deep, continually coming back after halftime. Because a week ago, Fresno, they got the better half of them.
Yep.
For me, this is a game in and of itself, man. This is a championship game. What happened last week really doesn't matter. It's all about what you do tonight. Now, you can learn from last week, learn about your opponent. But tonight's championship Saturday, and tonight's what matters.
It's an interesting way to think about it. I like it. Rippon has a man. First down, Boise State. It is John Bates, who just picked up his 2nd career reception. His first came last week. 17 yards.
John Bates is going to be working at the tight end. Really good route. He gets right behind linebacker depth and works to the open part of the field. Right when he clears Allison, see Brett Rippon locate him. Big open middle of the field for John Bates.
Rippon kind of clutched, and he waited till Bates cleared the linebacker. Deep downfield for Wilson. Cedric Wilson is an absolute stud. Future NFL receiver for 22.
This offensive line gives Brett Rippon all day to throw the football, and he's able to step into the throw. Can survey the field, locate his top target, Cedric Wilson, on the sidelines. Excellent blocking, quality throw and catch.
Try to do it again. Incomplete for Wilson. Montel Cozart is going to come on the field. Rippon and Cozart spent a lot of time on the field together, maybe more than they have all season last week.
Give Zach Hill a lot of credit, the offensive coordinator of Boise State, the way he's handled this quarterback situation and now being more imaginative and how they get Cozart involved.
They've got it with Cozart, and he'll pick up good yardage to set up a more manageable 3rd down. Another interesting wrinkle tossed in by Zach Hill.
I like it. Find different ways to get your playmaker the football. Montel Cozart, dynamic in the open field as a runner. Early on in the season, it was kind of just a red zone package. They bring him in, he plays some quarterback. Now they've really opened up the playbook, finding different ways to get him touches.
Trying to set it up for Alec Danens. He thought he got held. There is no penalty flag on the field. Juju Hughes had the coverage.
They brought a bunch of guys, but it's Jeffrey Allison who's going to come clean and get to the quarterback and get pressure. Very aggressive defensive call on 3rd down. Trusting their nickel, James Bailey, in man-to-man coverage on Alec Danens. Good defense on 3rd down.
Hayden Hogarth. Will get Boise on the board first in the Mountain West Championship game. It's an 8-quarter game. said Brian Harsin. By aggregate, the lead has been cut to 8. The 2017 Mountain West Football Championship game, presented on ESPN by Hampton by Hilton, all part of Dr. Pepper Championship Week. Fresno State, the West Division champions in their 3rd Mountain West title game, 1-11. Tim DeRuyter was fired towards the end of last year. Jeff Tedford comes in, has to face Alabama and Washington in the first 3 weeks. They have a bye week, and then they start to roll behind the quarterback and this offensive line that has allowed the 2nd fewest sacks in the country. Army has allowed 1 sack. That's a team that never passes, just about. Fresno State ball, and for the first time we check in with the great Adnan Virk. Now that defense gets to go to work against that Miami offense with a lead.
Brent Venables got some dudes on that side of the ball. That defensive line is ferocious for Clemson.
See how Malik Rozier bounces back this week. Watched a ton of film. Maria Taylor talked about it early in the week. He chewed up about 20 hours of film getting ready for this game against Clemson.
Fresno State took several deep shots early in the game a week ago to test this Boise secondary. We haven't seen them test them down the field to this point in the game. See if they let Marcus McMarion loose here. Let him throw the football down the field.
Maybe a little max protect here with this formation. We'll run it out of this set. Ronnie Rivers. Van Der Esch could not bring him down, and then Williams wrapped him up. Well, Sunday at 4 o'clock Eastern time, it's the 16th annual Jimmy V Women's Classic presented by Corona. UConn continues to get it done, but Muffet McGraw's team, a lot of people believe that they're a potential women's Final Four team. That is a huge game from Hartford on ESPN tomorrow at 4 o'clock Eastern time.
Think UConn wins the national title this year?
You know what? I'm curious to see. Louisville's got a lot of firepower, but UConn reloaded again. DeJounte O'Neal. Short gain, and it's going to set up a 3rd down and short for Fresno State.
Leighton Van Der Esch is a tackling machine.
Yep.
Already 4 tackles early on in this ball game. So good at diagnosing blocking schemes, always being in the right position. He's 6'4", he's 240, runs like a deer. He's physical, a former walk-on. Love popping the tape and watching this young man play defense.
Mims looks like he had enough for the 1st down to the 35-yard line. A hard-earned couple of yards there.
Yeah, it's just toughness and physicality from your running back. There's nothing there. He just fights, continues to drive his legs and lean forward to pick up just enough to move the chains. He's not very big at 5'11", 190, but Jordan Mims, a tough, physical runner.
Hits the cross. Jameer Jordan about a yard or so shy of the sticks. And that should take us to the end of the opening quarter. We'll get one play off here. And they'll go to Keyshawn Johnson. And Fresno State will have the ball in plus territory on the blue turf here in Boise to start the 2nd quarter of the Mountain West Championship game. We had a lot of fun downtown last night. Some of the best food undiscovered in this country. Shout out to Fork. Taco Bell is a proud partner of the College Football Playoff. Be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like these at games all season long when they're not hanging out at the North Pole. How about this? Boise State last night. I wonder if the student section would have loved this if this game were in Boise. Shout out to my man Lexus Williams, former Valpo Crusader. Half-court shot to snap the Oregon Ducks' 46-game home court win streak. And now Boise back on their home turf for the Mountain West title game as Ronnie Rivers picks up a couple. It's interesting that this game is being played in Boise, Idaho. The thought was that Fresno should be the host of this Mountain West championship game because they won the head-to-head, but the Mountain West has an interesting way to determine the host site for the title game. Underneath, not much there for Damari Scott. Third down. The team with the highest college football playoff ranking going into the final week of the regular season would be the host of the game unless they lose their finale and there's an assumption that they would drop out. So neither team is assumed to be in the playoff rankings. Then it goes to an average of 4 computer rankings, and Boise State had the higher composite rankings. So they, with their body of work, according to the polls, earned the right to host this game, much to the consternation of many in Fresno, California, and perhaps understandably so.
I'll give you my take after the snap, Adam.
It's a 3rd down and 8, and it's a sack. Curtis Weaver, the first team selection, now has more sacks than anybody in the Mountain West with 9.
Well, this is the best pure pass rusher on the Boise State football team. He may just be a freshman, but he is so good around the edge. He's got length, he's got speed, great with his hands, and he's been fantastic this year for this Boise State defense.
That could have been tough. Ends up out of the back of the end zone.
Fresno's only allowed now 8 sacks on the season. Boise couldn't get to the quarterback whatsoever last week. Already on the board here today in the Mountain West Conference Championship game. Broncos shining up the Mountain West Conference Championship trophy here in Boise as the Broncos take an early 3-0 lead over the Bulldogs. You know, Adam, we had a beautiful graphic up earlier. I'm a nose tackle. I'm not good with numbers. I think sometimes we overcomplicate things. As I see this, it's pretty simple as it relates to this. Both 7-1 in conference. There was a head-to-head matchup against both of these teams. And in my estimation, when you have that, this is supposed to be about a conference championship, right? We're so worried about New Year's Six bowls and where teams are going to go. At the end of the day, it's about winning this conference championship game. And if you play the same amount of conference games and you have a head-to-head, and those 2 records are the same, to me, the team that won that head-to-head should get to host the conference championship game. I know there's a lot more involved in it, but to me, that should be the first tiebreaker. That's why I was surprised when we were sitting here at Boise.
3rd down coming up for the Broncos here. When Boise State negotiated to stay in the Mountain West at the end of 2012 instead of leaving for the Big East, remember those days? They actually had one provision in the contract that if the Mountain West went to 12 teams, which they did the year after, that the host site would be determined by the highest BCS ranking. That was changed to the college football playoff ranking because you want to put your best team in the best position for a New Year's Six game. This is the first time that it's kind of backfired. You know, you never know how these situations are going to come about until they hit you. This is only the 5th year of the title game, and that's how it's played out. Is it the right way to go about it? I'm not sure because I understand the reasoning behind it. But I do think that a neutral site would probably solve some of these problems. You know, if the ticket sales are an issue, I mean, that's up to the Mountain West Conference to figure out. But I do think there are some solutions out there.
At the very least, it is now going into the offseason something the conference can look at, readdress, and see if there's a better solution to figure out future championship games.
Nice job by Joel Velasquez to handle that high snap. And got a good hang time kick for Ronnie Rivers. 3 and out, Boise State. The Bulldogs are the top 25 team tonight. They've got the ball back.
The 2017 Mountain West Football Championship game, brought to you by AT&T and Chevy, the only brand to earn J.D. Power Dependability Awards for cars, trucks, and SUVs 2 years in a row.
The award winners in the Mountain West Conference, a league that should be celebrated for the high level of talent. You're looking at the Defensive Player of the Year, Leighton Vander Esch. Can we give a little bit more love to Rashad Penny, Offensive Player of the Year, and again, the Special Teams Player of the Year. Dude brings it in the return game.
North of 2,000 yards once again, Adam. He's a special running back, had a fantastic career at San Diego State. I'm sure Mountain West Conference opposing fans will be happy to see him go, which I will expect him to be playing at the next level in the National Football League.
Same here, man. Josh Hokett is the back to start this drive from the 34. McMarion has a first down to Jared Rice, picking up 15.
Adam, Curtis Weaver solid on defense tonight, but not satisfied. He just ran to his D-line before this, yelling, they have too many yards. You can't let them run. Make them one-dimensional, play fast, and stop the run. So the redshirt freshman, a leader on and off the field.
Wildcat here for Josh Hokett. He'll get the first down. That's not going to make Curtis Weaver very happy on a good run.
No, well, Curtis Weaver's saying that also because he's kind of a specialist. He comes in on pass rushing down. So he's like, hey, give me some stops so I can get out there and get some more pressure on the quarterback.
He wants that third down situation to pop up so he can rush.
Well, nice plays for Fresno.
Yeah.
This drive going.
Nothing there. We check in with that Nan Burke in the studio. We were talking about this, Adnan. What do you think? If Ohio State wins, do you put them in over, let's say, in Alabama?
I don't, but we got a long way to go in this one. We got plenty of time to talk about that. That's a debate that will be going on all through the night if Ohio State wins.
I think it also matters the result, so I think you're right on that. Underneath to DeJounte O'Neal for the first down. Boy, this is a really solid offensive series for Fresno State. That's another double-digit yard play.
DeJounte O'Neal working out of the backfield. He stayed in as if he was going to block, and the releases last minute. Nobody accounts for him. Nice yards after the catch for a junior running back. It's good patience by Marcus McMarion, too, understanding he's got to check down.
O'Neal brought down by Tyson Maeva. Marcus McMarion made 6 starts at Oregon State midway through last year. A guy who was passed over for the starting quarterback job 3 times in 3 years. When Jake Lulin was named the starter at the beginning of this year at Oregon State, he transferred but did not arrive to a practice and wasn't eligible until August the 11th. And now he's leading the Fresno State Bulldogs on a very impressive drive. Jared Rice sets up first and goal.
Well, Jared Rice, he's listed as a tight end at 6'5", 228. Really, he's a slot receiver. A mismatch on linebackers. Just right up the seam. Great job by Marcus McMarion locating his big target.
Nothing there for Hokett. Beyond a yard.
Seen them several times now with Josh Hokett. That Wildcat offense. I wonder as we get into the red zone, It might reappear. He's their big, physical, short yardage running back. He'll get you the tough, hard yards.
Stuffed. Excellent penetration by the defensive player of the year, Leighton Vander Esch.
Man, Leighton Vander Esch flying downhill. He's up in the gap, and he's just going to shoot the gap. Make a big play behind the line of scrimmage as he fights through a block.
Little end around here. Damari Scott is short. Kekoa Nawahine beat him to the spot. And Vander Esch a little slow to get up.
They go with the jet sweep to Damari Scott. He's a big part of their offense. Run this a lot.
Officials timeout. There's an injury to a defensive player.
Leighton Vander Esch is down. It's like he's just trying to gather himself over on the sidelines. Nawahine, the safety, comes down and makes this play. He keeps his shoulder outside. He forces Scott to try to cut up. Excellent job by Boise State rallying to the football, showing some good team speed on the perimeter to come up with a big stop.
Good to see Leighton Vander Esch back up. Part of that rally to set up 4th down and goal.
From walk-on to Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year. Just his first year to start, by the way.
Redshirt junior from Riggins, Idaho, a town of about 400, about 150 miles north of Boise. Last year, his dad, Darwin, found an old Amtrak bus that used to take passengers from San Diego to Disneyland. They took a bunch of seats out of it, added a couch, added a stove, and he takes about 20 to 30 people to every Boise State game from Riggins.
Papa Vander Esch making some dinner?
I'm in on it.
Man.
You know how much we like food on this show.
Good looking rig. Look at Jeff Tedford.
Going for it on 4th down and goal here. McMarion. He's got the clear path for the touchdown. Fresno State takes the lead on a gutsy call by Jeff Tedford.
Gutsy call by Jeff Tedford on the road. Fearless. He came to win a championship, and he showed it right there. Naked boot, trusting their quarterback with his mobility and speed on the perimeter. It was a gamble, and a gamble paid huge dividends.
Jimmy Camacho makes it 7-3. A little roll of the dice from the first-year head coach at Fresno State. The former Bulldog himself calls the big play.
7-3, a 4th and 1 to Jeff Tedford. He rolls the dice. Thinking inside power football. Bruno DeRose off the edge. Going to be a play action. Naked boot. DeRose goes with the play action. Nawahine, the outside safety. He has to respect the tight end in coverage. It's a foot race to the pylon. And Marcus McMarion, the grad transfer quarterback, has excellent mobility on the perimeter. He's going to win that foot race every single time.
Ryan Wolpen on the return. And we return to the studio in Adnan Virk. When JT Barrett had the biggest problems, it was when Ohio State was turning the ball over. Think about that Iowa game where they got shellacked by 31. Boise from the 23. Rippin. Looking deep. And he's got his man in T.J. Richardson, the biggest Boise play of the day. 40 yards.
It's max protection. They had to give enough time to allow that route to develop. And this offensive line really, with a great job, giving the quarterback, Brett Rippon, plenty of time to survey the field and allow him to locate his target. And a dime on the outside beats really good coverage.
Now they swing it out to Wilson. Juju Hughes with the stop. Getting in to the late stages of the NFL season. Special 9 a.m. Eastern time start for Sunday NFL Countdown because of the College Football Playoff Selection Show. We'll talk about who's going to make it. Kirk Herbstreit will join the crew. And then how about the Steelers? Impressive against the Packers last week. They go on the road in a division matchup to take on the Bengals on Monday Night Football. Monday Night Countdown starts it up on ESPN. Wilson was the intended target. Official's hat was off, so he was out of bounds. But there is a penalty marker back near the line of scrimmage.
Brett Rippon not happy. This might be a formation penalty.
Legal shift on the offense. Two men were in most of the same time, did not reset. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
Shifts, motions, we call it window dressing, eye candy. It's a big part of what Boise State likes to do. Try to find out what type of coverage a defense is in. Will they adjust? Will they slide the front as the shifts and motions occur?
Another playback. Screen from Madison gets blown up by Tank Kelly. Fresno State's excellent defense forces third down and long. Revisiting Brian Harson's theory of making it an 8-quarter game. Neither team with a turnover so far through this 5.5-quarter stretch. Third down and 12. Incomplete, looking for Sean Monster.
What do you want to bet? If Boise is able to win this game, though they don't win the 8 quarters, they'll be just fine accepting the conference championship trophy.
I'm with you on it, pal. And it's not so much the physical manifestation of the 8 quarters of this game. It's the mentality that Brian Harsin was trying to deliver to his team. It was interesting. Nick Saban talked about the rematch process today on College Game Day, because Auburn and Georgia were playing each other, granted not on back-to-back weeks, but just trying to figure out the mindset of a football team. Excellent punt by Joel Velasquez, downed by the long snapper Brock Barr, and it pins Fresno State at its 1-yard line. The capital of Idaho, over 220,000 here in Boise, the tree-lined valley of the great downtown. A big play, Barrett getting it done with that explosive Ohio State offense. Fresno from the 1. Fresno from the half-yard line after the Rice penalty.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense, number 89, half the distance, still first down.
Tag Rittering instead, but either way, if you're going to get a false start, I think the 1-yard line's probably the ideal place to do it.
That ball is basically touching
Oh, man.
Hey, that is
tight quarters, bud. Let's see if that offensive line steps up here. Plenty of time for McMarion, but he overthrows Keyshawn Johnson.
That's a lot of trust in your offensive line as the offensive coordinator, Kylan DeBeer. I mean, they're backed up as far as you can be backed up. And they keep a tight end in for max protection. But trusting his offensive line to give Marcus McMarion enough time to throw the ball down the field. He had plenty of time, just overshot his target on a deep over Keyshawn Johnson.
Oh, he tried to find Mims. That would have been a crucial cushion catch. Instead, it's 3rd down and 10.
Boise State electing to just rush 4, play zone coverage on the backside. Plenty of time for Marcus McMarion to survey the field. Had his true freshman running back open, slightly behind him, unable to come down with the catch. 3rd and long, as we've mentioned, a problem down in distance for Fresno throughout the course of the season. Keep an eye on Jabril Weaver.
McMarion taking a deep shot. Incomplete. Keyshawn Johnson was the target, and Frazier was bringing pressure.
He did. He took a shot as he delivered that pass. Jabril Frazier. Curtis Weaver last drive. Jabril Frazier there. Really good job with his hands. A counter move coming back inside, forcing the errant pass for Marcus McMarion.
Avery Williams. And Avery Williams inside the 10 to the pylon, out of bounds near the 5.
You mentioned earlier, Avery Williams, an outstanding returner. Good blocking out in front. Excellent vision by Avery Williams. A big 36-yard punt return. Blocks are set up. He's patient as he gets to the sideline. It's a good spot by the official. The 4-yard line. Big-time return by Avery Williams.
2 punt return touchdowns this year. One of them came in his college football debut against Troy, the other against San Diego State. He sets up 1st and goal at the 4. Madison. 2nd and goal. Stopped by Stephen Van Hook.
It's power football, what Boise State's known for. It's a quality offensive line against a quality front 7 for Fresno State. It's Fresno State defense. We talk about their team being turned around. This defense has been the key catalyst in doing so. Orlando Steinauer has gone from an odd front 3-4 defense to a 4-3 this year, playing to the strength of his personnel.
This time they give it to Wilson, and he stumbled down near the 2. Interesting play call there to give a playmaker the ball in space.
It is, but man, that's not who they are. You know, I mean, Cedric Wilson's an outstanding player, so I'm not going to say you shouldn't get him touches or get him the ball.
Okay.
He can do great things with the football. But Boise State, this is what I like. Wildcat, Alexander Madison.
Taking the snap and taking it in. Touchdown Boise State for the lead.
power football. This is the identity of Boise State. Excellent blocking. They're going to go on the Wildcat. Just cave everything down the left side. Alexander Madison, one cut, lower the shoulder, get in the end zone. Nice way to cap off the big-time return from Avery Williams.
Hogarth gives Boise State the 10-7 lead. Avery Williams set it up for Alexander Madison to punch it in. Fresno State was in control in the first 4 quarters, so to speak, in this 8-quarter game. Tonight, Boise State has its second lead. Meeting all time between Boise State and Fresno State. They played every year from 2001 to 2014 as WAC foes and then Mountain West foes. They didn't play in 2015 or 2016. They met last week for the Milk Can Trophy, which Fresno State took home, and tonight they meet for the Mountain West title. Damari Scott. Out across the 20. Back to Adnan Virk in the studio. AV.
Damari Scott runs it out of the end zone. Tackle for the Broncos. 20-yard return.
That dominant defense and Kelly Bryant and that rushing attack getting it done, man.
It's pretty incredible that you can lose the best player in college football from a season ago in Deshaun Watson and be right back in the exact same position you were. They're going to be the 1 seed.
Yep.
Barring,
yeah, of course.
Barring a crazy comeback from Miami. They're going to be the 1 seed, rightfully so. And unbelievable job Coach Sweeney has done there, building that program to be a perennial power year in, year out.
There's Rivers. Flag thrown.
Maybe a face mask on Nawahine.
Yeah, I think so.
Trying to get Rivers to the ground.
During the run, personal foul, face mask, defense. Number 10, 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic, first down.
Nawahine. Well, the wait is almost over. Star Wars: The Last Jedi in theaters, December the 15th. I guess Darth is ready to go. He might have been recast in the movie. I'm not sure.
Is the Bronco head going to make the movie too? or just Darth Vader? I'm not up on my Star Wars. Sorry.
We wouldn't have been able to tell, Dust. We wouldn't have been able to tell, my man. Rivers. He's got the first down into Boise State territory.
I like this Ronnie Rivers.
Yep.
He is explosive. Not big. He's 5'8", 175, true freshman. Very talented perimeter runner. Different ways they get in the ball. It's just a swing screen on the outside. A couple of big offensive linemen get out in front. Throw him some blocks. Nice yardage after the catch.
Scott. Damari Scott to the edge, making people miss down to the 30-yard line.
Excellent blocking on the edge.
Injury to a defensive player.
Mims, 22, the running back. 89, the fullback, Rittering. 3, Keyshawn Johnson. Quality perimeter blocking for Fresno State.
We have a moment. Let's check in with Adnan Virk again. Sounds good, boys. We'll see you in 2:49. Fresno State looking for the lead before halftime. And there goes Marcus McMarion, making a little magic happen with his legs. First down and goal. 22-yard run for Marcus McMarion.
They got the matchup they wanted. Leighton Vander Esch going to be on a blitz, and they got the matchup that they were looking for on a running back. It's going to be Vander Esch on Mims. Mims misses, but Marcus McMarion makes the Mountain West Conference Defensive Player of the Year miss in the open field, setting up the big game.
The longest run of the night of 22. Timeout.
Fresno State has called their first timeout of the half. 30 seconds in length.
We told you about Fresno State's season. How about Brian Harson's crew?
60 seconds timeout. 60 seconds.
They blew that big lead in the fourth quarter to Washington State. Lost in triple overtime. Lost to Virginia, the worst home loss in a decade and a half. But then they finish 7-1. A 25-point comeback against Colorado State. First Mountain Division title in 3 years. Led on the defensive end by the Defensive Player of the Year in the conference. And Brian Harsin continues to put together a level of consistency for this Boise State program that I think is a little underappreciated.
He's done a fantastic job this year. It was a slow start. He didn't get down on the team. He told us yesterday he's learned a lot sitting back watching this football team. The slow start, a lot of media, a lot of local people getting on this team. The seniors, the senior leadership didn't allow that to permeate through the locker room. They kept their head down. They kept working, continued to buy in on what the coaches were selling, and have really turned this around and put together a quality season with a chance to win a conference championship. Games like Colorado State being down 25 twice, not flinching, sticking to their guns. Been a true testament to this season for the Broncos.
First down and goal for Fresno State. McMarion sees an alley and has the touchdown. And the Bulldogs jump back out in front.
Well, from the onset, I told you about Marcus McMarion's mobility.
Yep.
And this is what has really kept Fresno in the game so far this evening. Blitzing linebacker, and as soon as it comes, huge hole opens up, and Marcus McMarion, quality vision, seeing the hole open, and it's a sprint to the end zone.
The Bulldogs regain the advantage behind the grad transfer from Dinuba, California. About 30 miles away from Fresno. You know, he was at Oregon State. I mentioned he was passed up for the starting job a few times in his time there. But he got his undergrad degree in public health. He's only 21 years old, and he does have another year of eligibility. I mean, this is a guy who could be a major cog going forward for this Fresno State bunch.
What I've enjoyed watching is how he's just gotten better and better and better each and every week. Been able to open up this offense, put more on his plate, and he's taken week by week in stride.
Oh, check out the phone too. They splurged with the caller ID on that. That's a solid job.
Oh man.
It's a talented quarterback right there, man. Cedric Wilson out across the 15-yard line. Really good doubleheader coming up for you from the world's most famous arena. Sonic Blockbuster, we've got Villanova Gonzaga at 7 o'clock Eastern time on Tuesday night. Then Syracuse and UConn, that old rivalry matchup, All part of the Jimmy B Classic presented by Corona, starting up at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on ESPN and the ESPN app. Gonzaga, the national runner-up to North Carolina a year ago. I was a little surprised Cedric Wilson brought that ball out, because this ends up being the worst starting field position for Boise State. A long way to go. Got a man in Monster. And just like that, they're out across the 30.
It's a run pass option. Linebackers get sucked up with the play action. Monster out of the slot, works right over linebacker depth. Excellent strike by Brett Rippon.
Trying to find Wilson. He had Jaron Bryant in coverage. Going a little tempo that time after the first down.
Yeah, clock under 2 minutes. If you're going to get yourself in field position, try to get a score, probably want to put your foot on the pedal.
Beg your pardon, 3 timeouts remaining still for Boise State and 94 seconds for the half. It will be Boise State ball to start half number 2. Madison. Allison brought him down. 7 yards. The Broncos will keep that tempo. Fourth down and short coming up. Big stop for James Bailey.
Now if you're Jeff Tedford, do you want to use a timeout?
Yeah, if you're Fresno, would you want to use a timeout right here to save yourself as much time as possible?
That's what I would do. Yeah. Good timeout usage by Jeff Tedford. That is not what Brian Harsons and Boise State was hoping for with under 2 minutes to go in that possession. A quick 3 and out. Now you're going to give the ball back to Fresno.
Thank you.
With a timeout in your pocket and just under a minute to play.
Well, it is Championship Saturday, so you probably should have your second screen up somewhere with the ESPN app. We got the College Football Playoff Selection Show tomorrow at noon Eastern. If you're out on the go, perhaps this is your solution. Download it now, ESPN.com/app. We were sitting at dinner last night in downtown Boise. Our esteemed producer Kim Belton was hanging on to the table as his Stanford Cardinal tried to make the comeback against USC. What was a really fun Pac-12 title game last night.
But the Pac-12 South finally getting
first time
conference championship for the first time.
7 years, first Pac-12 South team to win it. Flag thrown. And fair catch at the 29-yard line by Rivers. Tack this onto the end of the return, perhaps here.
Looks like they're going to make them kick it again.
Legal formation on the offense, 5 men in the backfield. The 5-yard penalty will be added on to the end of the kick.
That should put them right around the 35 or so. With 55 seconds left and still a timeout for the Bulldogs.
Got to let Marcus McMaryion open it up and go down the field here. Great thing about him back at quarterback, if there's nothing down the field, equally as effective utilizing his athleticism and wheels.
What kind of play call do you like in a 1-minute situation with limited timeouts?
I want to see something that's a timing route, something on the sidelines. Keyshawn Johnson up top.
Good stuff, Dustin. Let's see if Fresno State heeds that advice. McMaryion with Hokett in the backfield. nothing there. Great play by the true freshman from Hawaii, Keikaula Kaniho, who's taken over at that nickel spot.
He fought through a block on the perimeter of Jared Rice. Really nice open field tackle of the true freshman.
And no hurry here from Fresno State.
I think since their first down play didn't get much action. Sometimes you'll see a team come out on first down. If they pick up some good yardage, they'll go fast. But losing a yard on first down, I think they're going to be content going to the locker room with a lead.
Unless Hokett can give him something big. Into Boise State territory with 6 seconds on the clock.
Shot at the end zone.
Fresno State has called their third and final timeout of the half. 30 seconds in length.
Now, Dust, I'm with you. I don't think there's any reason not to at least give it a shot at this point.
They would have liked to have had that play on first down.
Or maybe a little bit earlier in the clock.
Right. You get that on first down. Now all of a sudden you're going to go faster. You may use your timeout quicker. More of a realistic chance probably to score some points before the break.
How do you defend the Hail Mary? This is a great discussion I hear from our analysts across the network, on other networks. How do you want to see the Hail Mary defended if indeed that's what we see?
Everybody says knock it down. I say pick it off. I've seen I've just seen too many times when somebody tries to knock it down, they may miss knocking it down, the ball gets fluttered. If you got a chance to pick the ball off, I say pick it off.
If you got the chance to do so, I'm always kind of the bat it backwards out of the back of the end zone or to the sideline. I feel like a lot can happen regardless of what the process is, but it's always interesting to see how these guys want to defend a potential Hail Mary.
I know I'm in the minority. I've just seen it before. I've been on the field before. I've watched it where you've seen someone try to knock the ball down instead of just pick it off, and it comes back to bite them.
Well, they were thinking about going underneath. A little bit of maybe Kansas City Chiefs against your Cowboys a few weeks back. Clock is currently at triple zeros.
Please put 1 second on the clock, please. 1 second.
And I think that's right. I think they do need to put 1 second back because it looked like the incompletion came with time on the clock. So they'll get one more crack at it to go to the end zone here.
I'd probably put Leighton Vander Esch back there. All 6'4" of him. Brian Urlacher is our key guy to defend Hail Marys, but again, no Hail Mary going to be attempted here by Fresno State.
They'll take the knee and take the lead. The number 25 team in the college football playoff rankings.
And it's the end of the first half.
Squaring off with the team that was in the rankings a week ago. Boise State ball to start the second half with a Mountain West title on the line. Adnan Burke, Joey Galloway, Jesse Palmer. A long day for you three gentlemen, but I know you had some fun. It's all yours.
Coach Marcus McMarion sparking your offense with his legs. What's he doing well?
Well, he's making, when things are breaking down, he's done some nice things. We had a design quarterback draw where he did a nice job. Long football game, though. Got to keep it going.
This is a tough environment. As you can hear the fans around us, what do you need your defense to keep doing in the second half?
Yeah, just keep playing hard. Eliminate the big play.
All right. Thank you, Coach.
Merchandise following the game tonight. It will be open for 30 minutes following the conclusion of the game.
Welcome back to Dr. Pepper Championship Week.
Back in Boise for the 2017 Mountain West Football Championship game presented on ESPN by Hampton by Hilton. Alexander Madison.
Back to Dr. Pepper Championship Drive Game of the Week.
Brett Rippon and this Boise State team will have the ball to start the half. The Fresno State Bulldogs are in front to start half number 2. Adam Amin, Dusty Dvorak, Molly McGrath, not really anything too explosive in that first half. Just two quality teams playing a quality half.
They have the difference in the first half for me was Marcus McMaryion and Jeff Tedford coming up with a huge play call at a big moment. There's a big 4th and 1 in that first half, and it backs up against the wall. They needed to come up with a big play, and he rolls the dice and he gets to it. The opening touchdown drive for Fresno State, Marcus McMaryion shows you his ability to throw the football down the field. What separates him is his mobility. And Jeff Tedford knows he has a weapon with an athletic quarterback. 4th and 1, no fear. Call the naked boot, get in the end zone. One of 2 rushing touchdowns for the Fresno State quarterback in the opening half.
Boise State will start this drive from the 18-yard line. Let's check in with Molly McGrath.
Well, I talked to Broncos coach Brian Harsin about the challenges that Fresno State's defense is posing. He said they're covering much better than they were last week, and they're tackling better. He wants to see his offense break some tackles. He also wants to see more consistency. They haven't been able to string back-to-back plays together. And his message all week, you guys, was that 8 quarters. He told his team at halftime, we have 2 more quarters left in our season. We need to go out there and finish.
Brett Rippon starts it, Molly. Underneath, A.J. Richardson. He's got the first down. Brian Harsin talked about the week between the doubleheader, quote-unquote, as an extended halftime. So Fresno State, just 99 rushing yards last week. Really impressive performance on the ground, as you said, Dusty, led by McMaryion.
McMaryion, as well as Josh Hokett, the bigger, more physical running back. Fresno beat up Boise on the ground in the opening half.
Nothing there for Madison. Malik Forrester and Mike Bell. That's the defensive tackle and the safety. The defensive coordinator for Fresno State, Orlando Steinauer, said, let's build this defense up the middle.
That's exactly right. And Malik Forrester, he is a disruptive force in the middle of this Fresno State defensive line. A penetrator up the field. Good job shedding that block. Big hit on the running back.
Incomplete for Madison, but the penalty marker thrown with a really good linebacker, Jeffrey Allison, in coverage.
Yeah, there was contact over on the sidelines. Jeffrey Allison never turned around to locate the football. The question I had, was that a catchable ball?
And as a pass interference call.
Jeffrey Allison, man-to-man coverage, turning and running with the running back, Alexander Madison.
I agree with you. I'm not sure if it's a catchable ball, but you have to assume that there is a catch there if a defensive player makes that type of contact.
I think it's the right call.
Yeah. That pushes him up to the 47. Wolpen, a transfer from Northern Colorado, a scholarship player at the FCS school. He was a redshirt there in 2013, but opted to go to Boise State as a walk-on. That was the school he preferred. Grew up watching games with his dad, Steve, who played at Idaho State in the mid-70s. Really good back, and the guy who replaced him at Santa Margarita High School, Jeremy McNichols, getting his shot in the NFL. This time, Wolpen takes it close to the sticks.
Wolpen's not big, just 5'8", 195, but he's got some excellent quicks and very shifty in the open field. Cut back there. Second down. Until Kozart comes in the game. Love to use him in the short yardage package. Quarterback counters. Quarterback run game. Can also throw it very effectively.
Got a sneak for the first down. Seemingly has enough.
The way this offense has handled having two different quarterbacks come throughout the course of the year, I think really speaks to the maturity of both Brett Rippon as well as Montel Cozart. These two guys get along very well. There's no animosity in the locker room or on the field. Zach Hill told us they're good friends, and their teammates see that. It's all about winning, not about individual. And that's really permeated throughout the Boise State locker room.
Madison sneaks through a hole. Down to the 35-yard line.
The verbiage Brian Harsin used, even going all the way back to when we had him early in the season, same as it was yesterday. It's not a competition. Sorry, it's not a controversy. It's a quarterback competition. Both these guys have handled it extremely well.
Back to the Wildcat here. Good play by George Helmuth. Makes the stop to set up 3rd down. Can't be easy for a play caller. And Zach Hill, in his 2nd year on staff, is now the lone offensive coordinator and is the play caller this year for the first time, taking those duties from Brian Harsin. And he's had to navigate through a lot of rough terrain. The personnel, egos that you deal with when you're playing big-time college football. He's done a really nice job as the season has gone on to figure it out. Underneath, Alec Danens, 1st down to the 30.
I like the play call. Boot's a big part of what Boise State does. Brett Rippon's gotten much better outside the pocket. And even though Jake Rowe's not here, we've now seen John Bates, Alec Danens, a couple of catches to replace their big-time tight end who has yet to see the field so far this evening. And think about just this drive by itself. We've seen 3 guys already play quarterback here on this drive for Boise State. Zach Hill in this offense, they put a lot on the plate for defensive coordinators to prepare for and think about.
Into a tight window. Good coverage by Tank Kelly guarding A.J. Richardson.
Tank Kelly, the most aggressive of these corners. Man-to-man outside, 2nd time he's gotten that left hand in the throwing window as he's working on A.J. Richardson. Really solid pass breakup for the junior cornerback.
Tank Kelly has started the last 8 games. Veteran, playing his 29th game for Fresno State. Timeout used here. Boise State.
Adam, you're always teaching me and all of America so much on our broadcast. I thought I would teach you a little something, or at least jog your memory from something
what you got?
You might have said. Did you know that Boise is the most geographically isolated city in the contiguous 48?
That's outstanding. Well done.
That's what I'm here for.
Man, you busted that out of the memory banks.
You learned me good.
This was good stuff, man. On the blue turf tonight. 2nd down. Rippon overthrows Madison. And that'll bring up 3rd down and 10. Rippon's going to want that one back.
Yeah, he is going to want that back. He had exactly what he wanted. Alexander Madison up the seam, beats the safety. He's wide open in the middle of the field. Wide open. And Brett Rippon overshoots his target.
Time running out. That ball was loose, and it's ruled an incomplete pass for Madison. Brings up 4th down.
Adam, Jake Rowe lobbying to Brian Harsin this morning, trying to play despite a left leg injury. Well, he came out at halftime out of his uniform. He is in sweats. They definitely need him on a drive like this. It looks like he won't be going back in the game, Adam.
Yeah, Alec Danens, John Bates, they're good tight ends. They're getting better, but they're not Jake Rowe.
Jake Rowe's a difference maker, and as you get closer and closer to the end zone, into the red zone, that's where he is really key. And Molly's exactly right. Truly missed on that final sequence of plays.
Hayden Hogarth cannot connect from 46. One of the longer attempts of his redshirt junior season. Brett Rippon missed a receiver on that drive, and he knows it. Molly told you he's missing one of his key playmakers tonight. A big drive for Boise's D and the Bulldogs offense when you come back.
The 2017 Mountain West Football Championship game. Brought to you by the Mini Countrymen. Get more of what matters. And Carl's Jr. and Hardee's. Introducing the $5 All-Star Meals. There's no better way to spend $5.
There's no better crew to deal with in the country for college football games than the one that constantly feeds you. And that's what we have on our crew this season. It's been a fun year for us. Mountain West Championship game. Myself, Dusty Dvorak, Molly McGrath, just very happy to be a part of this wonderful crew. We get to take it to Championship Saturday as well. We'll have some bowl games, but culminating tonight, Molly McGrath, how are you feeling?
It's chilly out here, guys. I could use some hot food right about now, and there's nothing better than being known as the crew that has fun and eats a lot of good food.
Yeah, there's worse ways to live life than calling football games and getting some food delivered to you. Damari Scott, good run on the end around. Out to the 35-yard line. I'm like looking over my shoulder to see if there's...
Where's the food?
If there's going to be any food. I was like, just kind of hoping. Third down and 4 coming up here for Fresno State. Underneath again, and Rice gets the first down. That's a play that's hurt Boise State's defense a couple of times tonight.
Jared Rice motions over. It's the tight end delay. He acts as if he's going to block, and then after the defensive end releases in his pass rush, he releases, turns, picks up the first down.
McMarion, incomplete, looking for Scott, but a flag on the far side of the field.
The play does not count. False start. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
While we have a moment, we get a chance to look at the latest college football playoff rankings brought to you by AT&T. Quick score updates for you as well. Clemson leading 21-0. Georgia steamrolled Auburn. Oklahoma with a win over TCU. And Ohio State and Wisconsin in action. The Buckeyes have an 11-point lead. You think Oklahoma and Georgia are pretty much in at this point?
Oklahoma and Georgia, I don't think they're in. Clemson, halfway home to being in.
You're saying you think they are in?
They're in.
Right? Okay.
Absolutely,
gotcha.
they're in.
And Ohio State at least making a case for now with a lot of football to play in Indianapolis.
Could make it very interesting. I bet a lot of people in Tuscaloosa eyes here in Boise.
That's right.
Rooting for Fresno State. Try to bolster their resume.
A lot of Fresno State fans in Tuscaloosa. Keyshawn Johnson lunging for the line to gain. They mark him right at the sticks for the first down. That is not the play we saw the first half where he was a little short of the line to gain. That was good awareness by Keyshawn Johnson.
I like the effort after the catch. Immediately catches the ball, he turns up, and he's looking to make a guy miss and get the needed yardage to move the sticks.
Not much room. Nothing there for DeJounte O'Neal. Canijo on the stop.
Line change for Boise. 4 fresh defensive linemen in up front for them. Got to generate some pass rush.
Marion put a lot into that throw, and it was nearly picked by Canijo.
It was good protection by the Fresno State offensive line. Marcus McMarion had plenty of time to step into that throw, but it was outstanding coverage by Canijo. Working as the nickel in man-to-man coverage, gets his hand on the football.
Blitz from Boise. McMarion incomplete. Good pressure by the front of Boise State that time.
Curtis Weaver, the defensive end, he has got a serious first step off the edge. Continues to beat these offensive tackles out of their stance.
Fair catch, Avery Williams. Step aside, 7:13 to go. Quarter number 3 in the Mountain West title game.
It's V Week on ESPN as we continue Jim Valvano's fight against cancer.
You can donate to the V Foundation. Always a pleasure to be a part of V Week. Jimmy Camacho is a cancer survivor himself. He was a top soccer goalkeeper as a teenager. In fact, was spending time at MLS academies and Mexican academies, trying to train to play professionally. Actually got an offer to play professionally in Tijuana when he was 17 years old, as Wilson makes the catch. But before he got a chance to go down and play pro, his dad, Sergio, was diagnosed with lymphoma. So Jimmy, instead of going down to Mexico, opted to enroll at Riverside City College, went out for the football team, and became a junior college All-American kicker. While his dad, Sergio, who would still go to practices and watch him kick, was fighting through chemotherapy. Well, his dad gets healthy. Jimmy ends up signing a national letter of intent to Fresno State to play college football at the Division I level, and then he gets diagnosed with 3 tumors. Ends up getting a biopsy done. He was diagnosed with stage 2 seminoma, which is a germ cell tumor. He had 3 of them, in fact. He begins radiation treatments. He has to battle through chemotherapy. And then when he gets healthy, he has to build up his strength to be a kicker. He's able to do so, battles back, wins the job, and wins a second-team All-Mountain West selection this year. Incredible story, part of one of many here in college football, as Cedric Wilson picks up the big play for Boise State.
Cedric Wilson is an absolute playmaker. Nice route to get open. Quality yards after the catch. Guy I expect to see playing on Sundays here very soon.
Incomplete from Modster. Great story we just gave you on Jimmy Camacho. It's all part of V Week, and you can join ESPN and the V Foundation in the fight against cancer. Visit v.org/donate, and all donations benefit the V Foundation for cancer research. I'm thinking about our teammates, Holly Rowe, Rod Gilmore, just showing so much strength. Holly was in Santa Clara last night. Rod was in Detroit today. Inspirational to see them and all of you who are out there battling or know someone who is. Little trickery for Boise State. Incomplete. Guess who they were trying to get involved? Montel Kozar on that throw by Rippon.
It was a reverse toss pass back to Montel Kozar, who started with the ball initially. Again, this is Boise State embracing who they are at their core. All about the gadgets and gimmicks, keeping you on your toes as a defensive coordinator, as a defensive team. Did not connect, though, on the sidelines. Rippon to Kozar.
Rippin running out of time. Robert Stanley got there first.
That's just great coverage by Fresno State. Four-man rush, cover two on the backside. No one's open. And Stanley is able to get home late. Just a good rush on the outside, but the coverage outside. No one's open. No one open. No one open. No one open. I mean, it's everywhere. Quality coverage by Fresno State on the back end, helping get Robert Stanley the second sack of the night for the Fresno State defense.
So his defense gets off the field, and now Fresno State's offense goes back to work. 4-point game in the Mountain West Championship.
Jeff Collins.
Back at the 2017 Mountain West Football Championship game, presented on ESPN by Hampton by Hilton as part of Dr. Pepper Championship Week. What a festive place this is this time of the year.
That's sweet, man.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Is that our post-game walk?
I hope so. I love the Christmas lights, man. Oh, Santa Claus.
Yeah. Does he have a naughty and nice list for the playoff or something?
You've been naughty or nice this year, Adam?
Nobody wants to know the answer to that, Dusty.
Maybe a little of both?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. From the 13-yard line, Bulldogs get it going. And Josh Hokett gets wrapped up by Leighton Vander Esch.
Good open field tackle by Leighton Vander Esch. The crease opened up. Hokett was hitting it downhill. Vander Esch doesn't make that tackle. His 12th of the day, by the way. That's a big gain. So that's a quality tackle. Got maybe a little bit of Luke Kuechly in him. I don't want to go Brian Urlacher. Maybe a poor man's Brian Urlacher, Luke Kuechly, but it's been a fantastic linebacker for this team and a tackling machine.
McMarion under pressure again, and he gets swallowed up. That ball may have been loose momentarily. A moment of desperation on both ends there to get back on top of it, and it's still Bulldog ball. Oh, he's down there.
Yeah, he's down there.
I think that's the 9-yard line or so, and that's pretty much where they spotted him.
Desmond Williams, solid off the edge in his rush. Durant Miles, the defensive end, working on a double team, fought through it. Second sack tonight for this Boise defense. And a reminder, coming into tonight, Fresno had only given up 7 sacks all year.
It's called their first.
Only Alabama this season sacked Fresno multiple times.
Correction.
Boise State joins that group.
30 seconds in length.
And Desmond Williams playing a very crucial role tonight because Gabe Perez, who's the typical starting outside linebacker, broke his wrist against the Bulldogs last week. Now, oftentimes they'll go nickel, so they don't need the third linebacker, but they do have a lot of packages with a third linebacker, and the redshirt freshman made a big play for his head coach.
He's quality rusher off the edge. He's not very big. He's 5'11", 200 pounds. He's more like a true nickel player. He's got really good body lean. When they would like to get him matched up on a running back, they feel like that a clear advantage. He comes through with a big sack, set up a 3rd and long.
Well, Dusty, it leads up to tomorrow. You'll find out with the rest of us at noon Eastern on ESPN. The College Football Playoff Selection Show presented by AT&T. Reese and the crew will get you all the matchups, including the Rose Bowl and Sugar Bowl, this year's College Football Playoff semifinals. 3rd down and 14. McMarion heaves it up there. He had Keyshawn Johnson out there. Just kind of slung it up there as Curtis Weaver brought the heat.
Going to be an inside game as we're going to watch Weaver work. He's going to come from outside, but he'll loop inside, working with David Moa inside. As he comes across the center, he comes clean. It's a quality hit on the quarterback, Marcus McMarion, to force the bad pass.
Oh, pressure nearly got there from Weaver that time. Boy, these defenses on both sides of this game are starting to slug it out. Bulldogs and Broncos. Curtis Weaver, the redshirt freshman, showed up at about 295 pounds because they thought he'd be more of an inside guy, and he ends up shedding a bunch of weight. Lost about 40 pounds so he could play outside, and he's only leading the conference with 9 sacks.
I don't even think he's reached his true potential yet. I mean, he's still learning. So, big ceiling for Curtis Weaver, and you're right, great work ethic. Knew he had to lose a lot of weight, and he's still figuring out just how good he can be. It's pretty good considering it's a first-team all-conference selection as a freshman. Those long levers, long arms, good hips, great first step.
And now the captain of the defense on the other side, Jeffrey Allison. Now time for him to see if he can counter. Usually we're talking about the offenses punching and counter-punching. It's been the defenses here in the third quarter. Fresno State's D rallies to the ball to stop Madison. Brett Rippon, who did not have a pick or a touchdown last week against the Bulldogs, has now thrown a TD pass in his last 55 tries. 31 last week, 24 tonight. Dangerous pass. Looking for Wilson with Jaron Bryant in coverage.
I think you got to give a lot of credit to this Fresno State defense for that. They had 4 sacks on him a week ago. Good coverage in the back end. And Brett Rippon, before he faced Fresno State's defense, he had been rolling. I mean, he had really had some good confidence and playing some of his better football. So Brett Rippon in a little bit of a funk, so to speak, but you got to give a lot of credit to this Fresno State defense for holding them in check.
Trying to get to the sticks. Madison is short by a yard. It was Jeffrey Allison there to save the day.
He had to save the day because Jeffrey Allison was in no man's land, out in space, matched up with a running back, Alexander Madison. He doesn't make that tackle. Madison easily picks up the first down and a whole lot more. Solid play by the leader of this defense, Jeffrey Allison.
Madison is down, but moving. This is the defensive improvement that you were referencing, Dusty. Last year, they ranked 83rd in the country in scoring defense. They're 12th this year with Orlando Steinauer, the defensive coordinator.
And Orlando Steinauer, he came in and they changed everything. I mentioned this earlier. They were more of an odd front, a 3-man front, and they wanted to go to more of a even front, a 4-3 look, where things are defined, a one-gap defense. Thought that they had the personnel that matched that much, much better to put guys in situations to succeed. Everybody's completely bought in, starting with the senior Malik Forrester, who has really had the ear of all his teammates in the defensive room. And since they've bought in, they've just continued to get better and better throughout the course of this season.
This is a concern now. Alexander Madison, the 1,000-yard rusher, is out. And now Montel Cozart is in at quarterback. And after all of that, a penalty marker.
False start. Offense, number 79. 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
Well, Brian Harson's got to be irate right now. He trusted his offense. It's 4th and less than a yard from the 43-yard line, and he's saying, let's go for it. We're going to go. And his right guard, Eric Cavedo, has a false start, so now they have to punt. So I bet Cavedo is getting an earful on the sidelines from his coaching staff. Inexcusable mistake by the Boise State offensive lineman. And literally, to add insult to injury, Alexander Madison had to be helped off the field. He's the bell cow running the football for this offense. That completely changed the way they will likely attack running the ball for the rest of this game. So definitely something to monitor. I'm sure Molly's going to be all over it, but his return is going to be huge for the remainder of this game.
That's a huge piece that they're missing now for the time being. Alexander Madison, sophomore from California. We mentioned it. Boise State and Auburn have the longest streaks of 1,000-yard rushers, and Madison was hurt on this Allison tackle. Oh, the left ankle, that did not look good.
Get folded up underneath him. So he's going to get a spat and see if he can make it back on the field.
And now Fresno State takes over at its 10-yard line. Jordan Mims. And now it's up to the Boise State defense again. It's turned into that type of second half so far.
Defensive battle. I love it. You don't see those all the time in college football. This Boise State defensive line really constricting everything in the middle. On the edges, Frazier keeping things tight. The defensive line being gap sound where they need to be. Not much running room for either one of these offenses.
McMarion underneath. And there goes Mims. He gets the first down. Had to weave through a lot of bodies, but he picks up 15.
They can't get things going inside. So get it on the perimeter to your speedy, athletic running backs. Swing screen, running the offensive line out in front. And Jordan Mims, very nifty on the perimeter. A nice pickup.
It's been a rare big play in this second half. Well, right back to Mims. Frazier on the stop. A little bit of a shove there from Christian Kronk.
Getting chippy down there.
I like it. I like it. Now you're a little familiar after almost 7 quarters in 7 days against each other.
Going back to training camp.
Second down and 8. Jet motion here for Damari Scott. It's going to set up 3rd down and about 2.
That makes more sense. Trying to get perimeter runs. Trying to run in the teeth of that Boise State defense like banging your head up against the wall.
Kalen DeBoer talked to us about that. Really stout in the middle, so can we take advantage like we did last week, he told us, on the edges. We're set up for a good 4th quarter. The 5th championship game in the history of the Mountain West. Fresno State and Boise State, longtime rivals. A 4-point separation into quarter number 4.
Back here in Boise, where the Broncos' 1,000-yard rusher Alexander Madison can hardly walk and can't put any weight on his left leg after this gruesome injury. Afterwards, he was crying and visibly very upset with a lot of his teammates checking on him. But he did muster up the strength to go into the team huddle for the 4th quarter. Eventually, he was taken away on a cart. Boise doesn't give injury information, but it looks like he's out, guys.
Huge loss for Boise. To start the 4th, McMarion with a throw. Incomplete, looking for Rice. He had DeAndre Pearson coverage, and there is a penalty marker thrown on the far side near midfield.
Play action pass. Took Rice up the sideline on a wheel route. DeAndre Pierce, the safety, picked him up in coverage. Looked like there might have been some contact on the pass.
Pass interference, defense, number 4, 15-yard penalty and automatic. 1st down.
Rice was kind of complaining to an official, and he did seem to get slowed up a little bit on his route. I do not like that call, I think is the translation from this gentleman.
Not happy.
No. I am displeased. And here comes DeJounte O'Neal. Nothing there. Run down by Leighton Vander Esch and Sonatane Louis. '17 Mountain West Championship game presented on ESPN by Hampton by Hilton. Adam Amin, Dusty Dvorak, Molly McGrath on Championship Saturday with our fantastic crew. Bottom of the hour in Boise, Idaho, and we've got the tightest of the conference championship games going on right now. Keyshawn Johnson makes men miss for the first down, and he's fired up.
Keyshawn Johnson, outstanding route. Comeback route, works back to the quarterback, and immediately gets back upfield to get the necessary yardage for the first down.
11 targets, 5 catches for the second-team Mountain West selection.
It's a good route working on Tyler Horton. Tyler Horton, one of the best cornerbacks in this conference. That's good on good matchup outside.
Horton, a first-team selection. Another play fake. All day for McMarion. And he'll launch it. Incomplete.
Keyshawn Johnson working the over route. It got behind the safety.
For a split second, he was open.
He was waving his hands, doing jumping jacks, hoping his quarterback, Marcus McMarion, could find him. He located him too late. Ball sails past his intended target.
Poke it. Nothing there. Probably something in the studio with Adnan Burke, though. Trying to make a return trip to the college football playoff. The Tigers are in front. Here it's the Bulldogs in front, but 3rd down and 9. Incomplete for Hokett. Way off target. Pressure from Leighton Vander Esch.
Zone pressure there. They actually dropped Curtis Weaver, the defensive end. And they brought Vander Esch as a blitzing linebacker, still kept 4 in the rush and 7 dedicated to coverage. Vander Esch comes clean. Marcus McMarion, not enough time to find an open target.
Avery Williams has already had a very good return tonight. That's a great punt by Blake Cusick. Downed inside the 10. Scoreless in the second half of this title game. Still a 4-point Bulldog lead. Allstate is proud to be part of the team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. Boise State had its 7-game win streak snapped by this Fresno State team. Now a rematch in the Mountain West Championship game. Coming down the wire to the fourth. And Boise State has to do it without Alexander Madison, who had that very difficult to watch injury in the third quarter. So it's up to Ryan Wolpen and the redshirt freshman Robert Mahone and maybe a little bit of Montel Cozart.
Montel Cozart in the game. Big time threat as a runner as well as a passer.
And that hole got plugged up pretty fast by Jeffrey Allison. Let's check in with Adnan Virk. Thanks very much, AV. The Tigers leaving no doubt that they've earned that top ranking in the college football playoff.
3 of the 4 spots. Those 3 teams showed up on Championship Saturday and made statements.
Georgia, Oklahoma, Clemson.
They're in.
Cozart. Incomplete. Letting Montel throw a little bit. Redshirt senior out of Kansas City. Played very well in various roles and spots this season. Comfortable running that entire offense. The Kansas Player of the Year in high school as a junior. Started at University of Kansas and then slid over to Boise State. Said he wanted to win, wanted to have fun. And those things have come to fruition late in the season. Rippon back at QB. Time running out for Rippon. 3rd down and long coming up. The Fresno State front does it again, led by George Helmuth.
Off the left side, 2 different guys going to be working. He's going to come in. Helmuth is going to come off the edge. And there's nowhere for Brett Rippon to go. OKK, a good inside move, forces Rippon to step up. Helmuth finishes him off for his 2nd sack of the day.
The 3rd overall for Fresno. Rippon swallowed up by Malik Forrester. Sack number 4 for the Dogs.
I've been waiting for Malik to make some plays because he shows out on the film. And I like how the big defensive tackle going to be working as a defensive end. Excellent hands that he uses off the edge. It's a defensive tackle around 300 pounds. Take a look at his hands work. Beats him with hands, gets that rip up. He's worked on Ezra Cleveland. Back-to-back sacks. This Bulldog defense.
Ronnie Rivers hit hard by the long snapper Brock Barr. That's the 2nd tackle he's made in special teams tonight. And the defense continues to get the work done. Perhaps not to the level of excitement that some fans were hoping for, but this has turned into a slugfest in Boise.
The 2017 Mountain West Football Championship game is presented by Hampton by Hilton. Book a room today and follow your team all the way. And in part by Dr. Pepper, the one fans crave.
San Diego State is the only road team to win a Mountain West Conference championship game in the first 4 seasons. They beat Wyoming last year. Last week, these 2 teams squared off in the regular season finale. Just the 2nd time since FBS classification in 1937 that they've met in back-to-back weeks of the same season. Tonight, the road team is Fresno State, and the road team is in front. And a flag is thrown as Jordan Mims runs it.
Curtis Weaver almost got tackled on the edge. Easy call by the official. Be a hold on David Patterson, 78.
Holding, offense, number 89, 10-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Which is the tight end, not the right tackle. He had Curtis Weaver hemmed up, as they say.
Jeff Tedford, Brian Harsin. Two quality head coaches, two quality programs. Played two quality games in the last 2 weeks. Just a three-man rush. DeJounte O'Neal gets out near midfield. There is a common thread between these two fine head coaches. Chris Peterson, of course, was the head coach for much of Boise State's skyrocketing success. Brian was a very good offensive coordinator for Chris Peterson. Meanwhile, Jeff Tedford was a very good friend of Chris Peterson's and worked for him and with him last year for the Washington Huskies that eventually made the college football playoff. Bobbled and dropped by DeJounte O'Neal. Third down and 10. Tedford was an offensive consultant for Chris Peterson. Said he learned a lot working with Chris, and they had a very good give and take relationship.
Yeah, we talked to him before the game. We asked him about that. You know, that relationship he had with Chris Peterson. He said it was just so good to go study what they were doing at Washington, bounce ideas off of him, learn from him, really helped Jeff Tedford get back in the driver's seat here at Fresno and hit the ground running.
Slant. It was dropped. It was dropped by Jameer Jordan. And I believe Jared Rice rescued it for the Bulldogs. Indeed he did, shy of the line to gain.
It would have been a first down. Jameer Jordan initially.
A catch, a fumble recovered by the offense.
Initially, Jameer Jordan, nice job on the slant. Ball on target from Marcus McMarion in a tight window. He got enough to move the sticks, but then the ball's fumbled back behind the line to gain, and the Boise defense holds.
Now another punt from Blake Cusick. You're gonna have to move back 5.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense, number 7, 5-yard penalty. Still fourth down.
A couple of miscues back to back there for Fresno State. Catch from Williams. And now Boise State gets the ball back. It could have been a first down for Fresno State.
Well, Boise State's defense had to come up with a stop. They had the first down, but Tyler Horton rips the ball loose and gets the stop. Boise back on offense.
Mountain West Conference Championship game remains tight. Still a 4-point game. And Brett Rippon starts this crucial Boise State drive from the 10. Finds Ryan Wolpen with a penalty marker thrown from the near sideline.
Wondering if this is going to be a legal men downfield. They were trying to set up the screen, but Rippon held on to it for a long time. So the linemen were like 7 yards downfield before the pass was thrown.
Ineligible receiver downfield, number 67. The ball was touched beyond the line of scrimmage. 5-yard penalty, replay, first down.
Can't be beyond 3 yards of the line of scrimmage when the ball's released on a pass that goes across the line of scrimmage.
Could have picked your poison on that.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those everyone but the center type of.
And that's, to me, that's not on the offensive line, though. On a screen, the quarterback, even though if it's not there, he's got to get rid of the football or he's leaving his lineman out to dry.
That's a timing play, right?
Absolutely.
Rippon has a man in Wilson. Big play, Boise. Wilson inside the 40-yard line.
Cedric Wilson working out of the slot. Zone coverage. Safety doesn't get over the top in time. And Brett Rippon fires a dart. Perfect pass, a dime to Cedric Wilson for 59 yards. Huge play for the Broncos from their own end zone.
First and 10 from the Fresno 36. And some movement here.
False start. Offense, number 74, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Cedric Wilson with his 10th career 100-yard game.
Lot to like about Cedric Wilson. Speed, hands, playmaking ability. Next level player.
How about Rippon running it? He saw a 3-man rush, and suddenly the blue sea opened up for Brett Rippon.
You've been waiting to use that all night.
All night, my man. All night.
That was a design quarterback draw, though, because offensive linemen were coming off. John Molchon, Garrett Larson, the two guards, they went up to the second level after about a 2 count. So you're correct, 3-man rush, and Brett Rippon showing a little athleticism in the open field.
Rippon incomplete. 3rd down and 5 coming up.
Just waiting for A.J. Richardson to come open in the corner. It never happened. Good coverage down the field. Smart decision by Rippon. Throw the football out of bounds.
Junior out of Spokane, Washington, the nephew of Mark Rippon, the 2-time Super Bowl champion and the Super Bowl 26 MVP. Blitz from the Bulldogs. To the sticks. What a snare by Cedric Wilson in front of Tank Kelly. First down, Boise State.
Just a great route by Cedric Wilson working on Tank Kelly. Works back to the football. Goes up and makes a competitive grab. Not afraid to go up and use those hands. What a night for Cedric Wilson. What a career he's had here at Boise.
There's Wolpen. Pinballing his way and then dragging defenders inside the 15 for a first down.
Ryan Wolpen making the most of his opportunity. On the play before, he made a key block staying in to give Brett Rippon time to make the pass. And then it's power football between the tackles. The little man with some toughness. And look at the leg drive. He's not going to go down as he fights for more yards.
Rippon. Under pressure, Tobena Okeke, the native Nigerian and a senior from Missouri City, Texas, with the pressure and a penalty marker thrown at the 10-yard line.
By rule, there is no foul for ineligibles downfield because the quarterback was literally grounding the ball. 2nd down.
Thank you for the explanation.
Well done by David Alves, the lead official. This Mountain West Conference crew.
Looking for Cedric Wilson. Here in the red zone, big target up top.
Right there, Wilson trying to wrap his arms around Kelly, and a penalty marker is thrown.
Kelly's in good position. He's got to turn around and try to make a play on the football.
Pass interference, defense, number 6. The foul occurred in the end zone. By rule, the ball will be placed at the 2-yard line. First down.
Tank Kelly had inside position on Cedric Wilson. That ball was underthrown, so Cedric Wilson tries to come back for the ball. And since Kelly isn't turned around and able to make a play on the football, he impedes Cedric Wilson's ability to make a play on the ball. It's a good call by the official.
First down and goal.
Power football.
Ryan Wolpen looking for the lead.
Ryan Wolpen takes it in from the 2. Hogarth on to the extra point.
Drive length, 90. Lead, 3. With no Alexander Madison, it's up to the transfer, the redshirt senior, the former walk-on, Ryan Wolpen. He puts Boise in front in the title game. Boise State with the first points of the second half with 4:42 to go in the fourth for the lead. And a good drive by Boise State to jump in front.
And now it's time for tonight's All-State All Hands in Play. The senior Cedric Wilson from their own 5. They needed a play. They got a play. A dive from Rippon. And an outstanding over-the-shoulder catch and stride by Cedric Wilson. The drive of the season potentially for Boise State. 90 yards. They rode the backs of 2 seniors. Cedric Wilson, an outstanding wide receiver, and Ryan Wolpen, who has been called upon because Alexander Madison injured his ankle. 2 seniors came up huge on that drive for Boise State.
Ties their longest drive of the season to take the lead. Now it's Marcus McMarion's turn, and the Bulldogs have it at the 25. Mims, incomplete. What have you liked about Fresno State's offense that you want to see on this drive?
Keyshawn Johnson, I've liked him a lot. What I haven't liked is the running backs in some of the check down situations, inability to catch the football. Some of that's on Marcus McMarion, some of that's on the receivers, but some of the simpler, more easy passes have really been struggles so far for the quarterback, Marcus McMarion.
McMarion heaves it for Jordan. Incomplete. Tyler Horton sticking with him down the field.
He wanted to go to Keyshawn Johnson. He was eyeballing him, but it was double coverage. Safety was cheating over the top. So he looked back to the near side of the field, and Jameer Jordan had a step on Tyler Horton. Too much on that throw from McMarion.
3rd down and 10.
Got to watch for here, Adam. Got to watch for Curtis Weaver. All day today, He's been harassing the quarterback in the offensive line of Fresno.
Weaver goes back in coverage, and the pressure gets to McMarion. This time it was Frazier.
Adam, both of these teams have been pretty even keel all night until now. Boise State sidelines are erupting with electricity and with passion. The players are jumping up and down, they're waving towels, and it may not be completely full here, but it is so loud here at field level. That was definitely an issue for Fresno State's offense.
A very quick 3 and out. Their third this half. The Bulldogs have mustered just 82 yards since halftime. Avery Williams with the bobble, but he recovers. And he's out at the 36. .4:14 to play. Big championship Saturday today, and who better to wrap it all up than Scott Van Pelt? Midnight Eastern on ESPN. Who should be in the college football playoff? Some of the coaches will join him. They'll make their cases, lobbying for their position. And Tiger Woods, who was really good in the first couple of rounds, struggling in round 3 in the Hero World Challenge. SVP wraps it all up on ESPN. Boise State trying to wrap up a Mountain West championship. Up by 3, still 4:14 to go. And Ryan Wolpen gets the carry.
Malik Forrester, defensive tackle for Fresno State. So good with his hands and pad leverage. Sheds a block. When he hits you, you feel it. Big hit on the running back, Ryan Wolpen.
And Fresno State, with its full complement of timeouts, will use one here to stop the clock. A lot of folks in Tuscaloosa, Alabama have their eyes on this game as well. Remember that Fresno State played against Alabama in week 2. Now listen, the eye test is what it is here in the Mountain West title game. But the metrics, if Fresno State were to come back and win this game, that would improve the metrics of Alabama's resume, having beaten what would be the eventual Mountain West Conference champion. And Alabama trying to make its case for the college football playoff without playing in a championship game today. Wolpen, and the senior with a huge run. It's a first down into Fresno territory as we hit the 4-minute mark.
The cutback here by Ryan Wolpen is fantastic. He puts that left foot in the ground, cuts back against the grain, big hole opens up, and he fights for a couple extra yards. Big first down as Boise State trying to ice away this fourth quarter and this game.
Wolpen working hard. Forrester was the first man to contact him. Approaching 3 minutes to play. And another timeout used here.
Got to appreciate guys playing to the bitter end. Malik Forrester is not going out without a fight, so he continues to make plays along that Fresno State defensive line.
There's still a lot of time left. Fresno State, if they can get a stop, they can use a timeout again, stop the clock. And then they'd be out of timeouts. They'd have to get one more stop to try to get the ball back and let Marcus McMarion and the offense try to get their first points of the second half. This was a defensive slugfest throughout the third and most of the fourth quarter.
These defenses in the second half, they have really settled in. Nowhere for either one of these teams to really run with the football. Good coverage, pressure on both these quarterbacks. You say defense wins championships. Isn't that the old adage, Adam?
Of course.
Looks like that's serving as truth here this evening.
Open again. Wrapped up by Bailey. Let's check in with Adnan Virk before third down.
Now, we were talking about this game last night, Adam, and I think you and I both thought the Badgers had a realistic chance to win that game. But we talked about they're a second-half football team.
Yeah.
When you look at their season, the way that they played in the second half, he's so far in that Big Ten championship.
Saw it against Iowa. Run to the right for Mahone. That is a huge play by Mike Bell, the safety. It brings up fourth down. Timeout used by Fresno.
Mike Bell, the safety, they're going to have him up at the line of scrimmage, inside the box. It's when he's at his best. Flies upfield. Try to sneak in the jet sweep to Mahone. Mike Bell not having it. Excellent open field tackle by the safety. He's big, man.
Yeah.
6'3", 205. Good open field tackle.
A high school quarterback and wide receiver and defensive back out of Citrus Hill High in Moreno Valley, California. Good job by Jeff Tedford. He saved the timeout on third down, got him to fourth down, uses the last TO, 2.5 left, and the offense for Fresno State will have an opportunity. And welcome Marcus McMaryion to the biggest stage that you're playing on for a conference championship and your club down 3.
What could you ask for as a quarterback, right? One drive to win a conference championship. Problem is that Boise State defense has been flat out nasty so far in this second half.
Quinn Skillen has been solid punting tonight. Well, they were set up for a block. They brought pressure. And the fair catch at the 13-yard line for Rivers.
Rivers takes the fair catch.
This is why Marcus McMaryion came to Fresno. Passed over and passed over and passed over again at Oregon State. Still made 6 starts. Still had wins against Arizona and Oregon. Impressed at various points in his career at Oregon State in flashes, but never got the chance to be the guy. No better opportunity to be the guy than right now.
We haven't seen him make a play with his mobility, his athleticism in quite a while.
Feels like since halftime.
Obviously, he can throw the football down the field. He throws a great deep ball. We haven't seen much of that. I wonder if now's the time where if there's nothing down the field and there's a running lane, he tries to pick up a big gain to get some momentum with his legs.
Under pressure again. Frazier got to the quarterback. Incomplete.
We've got a problem on the right side of this Fresno State offensive line. David Patterson. The rush is going to get home. We saw this last time on the third down. Just beating him to the spot, getting that rip up on the offensive tackle. The tackle's got no chance, nor does the quarterback, to set his feet and deliver a pass.
Screen against the blitz. It is Scott. And a good job by David Moa to get back to the ball. 3rd down and 7 coming up here.
Call that getting out of the stack and running to the football as a defensive lineman. The screen was set up. Scott had room out in front, but Moa with great effort.
McMaryion picked off! Intercepted! And guess who? The Mountain West Defensive Player of the Year seals a championship for the Broncos.
Interception, Leighton Vander Esch.
What a night for Leighton Vander Esch. I've said it tonight, he's a tackling machine. And now he comes up with the biggest play of his career. Likely a game-clinching interception. Vander Esch is going to drop in zone coverage, and he's going to read the quarterback's eyes. Gets to his point, get him read the quarterback's eyes, steps in front of the pass, makes an outstanding play to lock up this conference championship for Boise State.
Dusty, we showed you one of the factors for Fresno State's offense, the 12% rule. If of your offensive snaps, if penalties, drops, sacks, and turnovers account for less than 12% of your offensive snaps, you win 90% of the time, according to Kalen DeBoer. Tonight, that number's up at 19%. That's not a recipe for victory. And tonight, Boise State's defense made sure.
The penalties really cost them this evening. Obviously a crucial turnover. You got to give Boise State a lot of credit for being able to generate a pass rush on an outstanding Fresno State offensive line. They'd only given up 7 sacks coming into tonight. They get 2 sacks. But it was a lot of the pressure throughout the course of the evening that really gave Marcus McMaryion a lot of trouble.
After the game, fans tune into ESPN3 for the post-game trophy ceremony. We'll have full coverage of it on ESPN3 and the ESPN app. They started the season 2-2. People were calling for Brian Harsin to be out in Boise. They were calling for Brett Rippon to be replaced at quarterback. A couple of months later, Mountain West Conference champions, the Boise State Broncos. Somewhere down there is Molly McGrath. We will get it to her as soon as Brian Harsin, enjoys this elation and this ceremony.
Adam, I have the man of the evening. Coach Harsin, after starting the year at 2-2, that Gatorade bath must have felt pretty great. How does Mountain West champion sound to you?
Well, sounds really good. Very proud of these players, their effort tonight, our coaches, this awesome crowd to be here on the blue. And to get this, we got it, baby. We got it. It means a lot. We got it. It means a lot. You got it, baby. You got it, baby. There we go. There we go.
This guy, Cedric Wilson.
It means a lot for these guys here to get it done. And I couldn't be more proud of the battle that they've fought to get to this point right here.
You've talked a lot about the resiliency of this team. Your 1,000-yard rusher goes down in the 4th quarter. What did you learn about this group, the fact that they could push through that?
That's our team. You know, it's not about we have good players. Things happen, and somebody has to step up and carry the flag, and that's what they did all year long. And it's been an entire group effort to get this done.
Boise State is the gold standard for a group of 5 teams. We talked about that the other day. How important was this conference championship win for your program and for what you guys are trying to accomplish?
Well, the Mountain West Conference is a great conference, and Fresno State, hats off to them. What a battle again. But for us in Boise State, to be here on the blue, to have an opportunity, that's the goal every single year. And you fight to get to this point. It means a lot to us, and these guys certainly earned it. They fought their way to be here tonight, and they got it done. Couldn't be more proud. Go Broncos!
Your 2017 Mountain West champions, the Boise State Broncos.
A sea of humanity on the sea of blue turf here in Boise. Brett Rippon and the Broncos are your 2017 Mountain West champions. The trophy ceremony on ESPN3 and the ESPN app immediately coming up. For Dusty Dvorak, Molly McGrath, the wonderful women and men of our crew, Adam Amin saying so long and good night from Boise.